Today, I'm going to be making the third chapter to my Mascot horror game series, Minced. There's going to be new mascots, new levels, and most importantly, tons of new hidden lore. This chapter turned out to be the best one I've made so far, so watch till the end to see the results. But before we get into all that, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, GameMaker. Alright, so I'm going to try and make a 2D version of Minced while I talk to you guys about GameMaker. GameMaker is a fast and easy to use cross-platform 2D game engine used to develop tons of your favorite indie games like Risk of Rain and Undertale. Alright, so first I'm going to lay out my whole level and block out all the collisions. And I think that looks pretty good. To a lot of people, game development can sound super intimidating, but GameMaker includes an option to use their amazing visual scripting tools, which makes it a great engine for both beginners and experienced game developers. Alright, so now I'm going to add in and script all the mechanics and stuff, like the meat grinders and the keys. Something I find super cool about GameMaker is that everything you need to make a game is already included in the software. That means you'll never need to switch programs to edit a script, for example. GameMaker also has a ton of asset bundles which are completely free to download and really useful to make games with. They also have plenty of pre-made game templates that are great examples to help you understand how games are made. There we go, just add my little goose. Yes, perfect. There we go, just like that. You can download GameMaker for free using the link in the description. Now, back to the video. Almost 6 months ago, I released a mascot horror game I made in 24 hours called Minced. Minced is a game where you explore an abandoned meat processing plant, all while a giant meat man named Chuck Steak chases you. This game was quickly followed up by a Chapter 2, which was a huge step up from the first one. The first chapter was just a simple prototype, but Chapter 2 had way more features, like new levels, new mechanics, and most importantly, a new mascot named Silas Sausage. After releasing this game, I said that if I got to 15,000 subscribers, I'd make a Chapter 3. And you won't believe what happened! Yeah, I definitely passed that one. And because you guys are also begging for a Chapter 3, I decided I'd make it the best chapter yet. Now, before working on Chapter 3, I actually started working on a level that takes place before both Chapter 1 and 2. This is because I wanted to connect all 3 chapters, then release them as one big game. So I made this level as an intro to all the chapters. It takes place outside the meat factory, where the player walks out to their car and into the building. This was probably the hardest level to make because I had to lay out the entire meat factory by hand. This level also has a note on the car with a ton of hidden lore on it. If you're interested in the story behind this game, make sure to go play it by clicking the link in the description to see what the note says. But after this, I finally got to work on actually making Chapter 3. The first thing I had to do was make the design for the game. If you haven't played the first 2 chapters, make sure to go download them to get caught up, or at least go watch my other 2 videos on them. But to catch up to speed, at the end of Chapter 2, the player rides on a weird lift that breaks and falls down into the darkness. And the game just ends. This chapter will pick up right where that one left off. I wanted to do something unique with the level design on this one instead of the other Banbanish style rooms. So I looked on the Unreal Engine marketplace to find something interesting to use. I found this old town asset pack and exported it into the project. I laid out the first level with this new asset pack, and I decided that I'd put this whole town underground within the facility. I decided that the player would have to start up this trolley to go to the next level, but you have to collect different gas cans to put them into this generator which powers the trolley. But it's not as easy as it might seem, because this is where I made the third mascot to the Minced franchise, Mr. Nuglet. Okay, I actually don't have a name for him yet, so I'm just going to call him Mr. Nuglet for now, but make sure to put your wackiest suggestion for his name in the comments. Whatever gets the most likes is what I'll actually call him. Because I wanted Mr. Nuglet to be a little different than the other mascots, I made him make no trigger sound for his chase animation when he follows you around. He also doesn't even run, he just kind of bounces, which is a little funny. Make sure he doesn't sneak up to you in the silence because it'll actually scare you so bad. Anyways, making Mr. Nuglet was a whole process. At first, I just fired up Blender, but soon realized that I had no idea what I was making. So I drew up some concept ideas before settling on a chicken leg. Then I reopened Blender and started working on him. I modeled the bone, face, and eyes, and made him bounce up and down. Then I exported him and his animations into Unreal and used a simple navigation blueprint to get him to chase the player. The only problem now is that he really doesn't do anything when he gets to you, so I needed a jump scare. Now, to be honest, the jump scares in the first Minced chapters were pretty lazy on my part, but in this game, I wanted to step it up. I actually made a custom jump scare animation for Mr. Nuglet, so now when he catches you, it's somewhat scary. I also made similar animations for every other mascot in the game, so all the jump scares look great now. The first time you see Mr. Nuglet is in the very first level of Chapter 3, after you fall down off the lift. There are multiple clones of him that just run up and attack the player. However, this isn't the only form you see Mr. Nuglet in, but we'll get into that one later. This trolley was actually pretty complicated to make. I found this tram model on Sketchfab and imported it into Unreal. Then I tried to get the movement working for the trolley with different blueprints and splines. It worked all right, but the player wouldn't actually get in the train. You just watch as it leaves without you. So what I did was call over my friend Stopshut to have him fix the blueprints.
Guys, today I'm with Goose Studios. I'm helping him out with some blueprints.
Go subscribe to Stopshut right now. After a little tweaking, we finally got this stupid train working. Once you start up the trolley by collecting all the gas cans, you're taken to the next level. This level is one giant hangar that's extremely dark. When the player walks into it, there's a giant version of Mr. Nuglet who's chasing you. Now, I give the player two options. You can either stay and fight Mr. Nuglet by using this pistol that you can pick up and shoot at him, or you can run down this tiny little corridor which takes you to the next level. This whole room was actually pretty simple to make because I just laid out the hangar part and connected it to the trolley station. Then I just added stairs to bridge the gap and wha-boom! Now it looks great. Giant Mr. Nuglet was actually pretty fun to make. I tried to model him all in Blender, but because I still don't know how to make animations, even after 6 months of learning game dev, I took him onto Mixamo and imported him right in. With Mixamo, I can just drag and drop where I want the joints to be on him, and it'll automatically just rig him, and I can give him any animation I want. And so after a couple minutes of searching, I found this? No, don't do that, Mr. No! Anyways, I found an actual good animation that would fit, and I just exported it right into Unreal. Then, of course, I made a blueprint for Giant Mr. Nuglet. I set up his entire AI and all the properties that I would need, and then I just dragged him right into the level. And with a little tweaking and a crowbar, Mr. Nuglet looks absolutely horrifying. Leave a comment if you'd want to eat him. Anyways, on to the next level. This is where the lore gets way deeper. I put a beating heart in this chamber, and the environment is very sci-fi this time. In this laboratory level, you have to follow this parkour maze to get a crowbar. Then you use the crowbar to open up this gate and get to the final secret level where you have to shut down the... If you want to see this ending for yourself, the link to the game is in the description below. Anyways, the final thing I needed to do was make a bunch of hidden lore throughout the game to drive the story. In the second chapter, I had the player collect 2 VHS tapes that they could play at the end of the game. Similarly, in Chapter 3, I made an audio log in the laboratory that yaps about some secrets in the facility.
This audio message is brought to you by the Experimental Resources Department of the Minced Meats Processing Plant.
This audio log is made from Microsoft SAM text-to-speech generator, and you can probably recognize it from literally every analog horror video. It's pretty spooky.
Subscribe to Goose Studios, because he is the best Mascot horror YouTuber.
I also added a billboard in the beginning of Chapter 3 with the underground town, and the billboard says Chuck and Silas Meats Co. This is a story detail that is essential to the game's lore, because this whole underground town is actually the old abandoned meat company that the newer one was built on top of. I won't get into it too much, but make sure to leave your theories in the comments and go play the game for yourself. Like I said, there is so much in this chapter that you have to go play. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and recommend Minced to your favorite YouTuber and streamer to play. Also, make sure to click the link below to get your copy of GameMaker completely free.